Word up, homies. Why did I do that? How's it going? Can everyone see and hear me? Mo Raddy in the chat, CM Fantasy, Cobbler, Frank Libuff, Adam English, Word. Evening, gents. Oi oi Benno, watching Star Wars with the other half, so I have to do catching up tonight. Oh, right, okay. You could watch this Luke instead of that Luke. Fun fact, my dad named me after him. Hello, Irons. Loud and clear, love it. Dick Wellington, always there. So reliable. Dick Wellington, are you FPL Pato? Because you have the same image. But I never actually know that for sure. Adam Sands, evening guys. Love it. Right, we'll try and make this quite short, guys, because I don't think there was any League Cup or midweek games or anything to catch you up on. There was internationals, however. Where's Andy in his robe? Yeah, I don't know. It's his dad's birthday, so he backed out on this one. I don't know whether his Gameweek was robe worthy or not, actually. I didn't even ask him. Do you know how well he did? We can just assume it's terrible. I mean, usually is, bless him. That's harsh. He did alright last time. Correct. I knew it. I knew it. You've never seen Star Wars? I mean, I'd watched the original 3. I wouldn't bother watching any others, really. There was one other one that I enjoyed. Rogue One or something, which was kind of independent, I think. I don't know much about Star Wars, but that one was half enjoyable. I've seen them all, and the rest of them were fairly painful. That's my opinion, anyway. Obviously, the original ones are a bit dated now from the 70s, but they still hold up pretty well. Evening, all Tala. His old man, Captain Soucek. Yeah, I saw that. Horrific. I started Soucek over Salah, despite me having it the other way around until about 2 minutes to deadline. But if there's punishment to be found for a decision, I will find it. Yeah, I've heard that, Pep, actually, about that series. I may give that a go. Phantom Menace slapped when I was a kid. Let me assure you, it's diabolical, Darcy. However, I did enjoy the pod racing part of it. I really enjoyed that because I like playing the game on the PlayStation as well. I think it was on the PlayStation. So I actually enjoyed that bit. But Jar Jar Blanks. That was awful. Right, I'm rambling already. I said it was going to be short. Yeah, there were some internationals, but you'll just see there's a few little knocks and niggles, or heads, shoulders, knees, toes and gash, as someone put in the comments, which I found pretty funny. There he is, Andy Martin. Family Super Bowl. Never watched a Super Bowl in my life. Don't plan to. Shit sport. I mean, I say the race reason I don't watch it is A, I don't understand it, but B, because there's so many stoppages, but football's like that these days. I don't understand that, and there's loads of stoppages. Obviously, we had the CM stats go out, so we don't really need to do the game week review. I've been asked to look at a few things, so I'll just look at it quickly. Someone asked me if mentalities in terms of attacking, normal, defensive, can change as a result of red cards or goals and stuff, and the answer is yes. And unless you watch the game and sort of monitor it, you don't actually know. However, sometimes in the match report it will specifically mention it. But long story short, yes, they can change. So I think he said Newcastle, right? So Newcastle, for example, when they started the game, they were attacking as usual, and Millwall were actually defensive in this game. Counter-attack. But then, and you can see always at the start, it always says something about their tactics. So Newcastle tried to get men forward to support the attack. Nearly every match report will say that. And then it will often comment, but not always, when something changes. So here, when there was a red card, Newcastle brought on a fresh pair of legs. And then here, Newcastle dropped the pace a little. Millwall started to attack a bit more. So I think it's safe to assume here that when they say dropped a little and started to attack a bit, they've basically moved one notch on the slider. That would be my guess, and it makes sense. So Newcastle will have dropped to normal from attacking, and Millwall will have gone from defensive to normal. But they can change throughout. But it is important, so it's not that important, I suppose, to worry too much about how a team's set up. But the thing you may have noticed in this game is that nearly all the goals happen in the first half. So it's important in sense that how the team sets out is quite likely to affect the game very heavily in the first half, and therefore if you've got a team on attacking, you're more likely to get your goals in the first half, because often once the teams are comfortable, or at least one team's comfortable, they set up in a way so they can kind of kill the game, and then it becomes very hard to create chances. So yeah, it is important, even though it changes. I hope that makes sense. Evening Bricky, love it. My main man there, my Luton brethren. Why would they sub Court for another forward? Cadamartri usually plays on the wing. Let me see what happened. Yeah, so Laurent Robert's a left winger. Kyle Court got subbed, so they played one up front. And then Cadamartri, who then got subbed. It says forward right centre, but he actually plays as a midfielder. So what will have happened is Stephen Hughes probably went left wing. Dyer plays in the middle with Maddison. And then Cadamartri on the right wing. Maddison can also play virtually anywhere. Even though it only says right, he can play any side. He can play in the middle, plays right wing. He's already played right wing in this sim, actually. One of the games. So yeah, it would have been one up front. He wouldn't have gone up top. Very good, Mr. Traditional Sunday night Mackie D's. Fucking hell. That's brave. I always like the thought of a Mackie D's until I eat it, and then just rank, like every time. But it does the job, right? What else is there to talk about? Nothing really there. Let's go through the teams quickly, and then we can look at the preview. So, like I say, it's going to be a pretty short one. So I'm not going to keep you waiting. Let's look through them. There isn't a massive amount of news, guys, but there is enough. I think fixtures, always forget that. So we're about to start all of these games. Super Bowl is fake rugby, don't watch it. Yeah. I used to play rugby when I was younger because I was incredibly fast on the wing. I say play rugby. I literally would just run with the ball and often score a try because I could weave past people, but I couldn't tackle, throw, or do anything else. But that was enough at my level. Played for Bedford. I can't remember what they're called. Yeah, it was pretty good, but then there was people that were also as quick as me and were as big as Joe Nolomo, so I gave that up pretty swiftly. Don't forget R9 to Watford, Luke. Oh, yeah. We'll come to that. Sunday, there's only one game, Leicester-Watford, so they've got an extra day. Leeds versus Villa is Monday the 18th. I'm just going to check, actually, to see if that double game week's still in. Yeah, it's still there at the moment, Arsenal-Bolton. Right, let's go back to Arsenal. So, play today. No one of importance is out. Luke the Shane Williams of his day. Running shuttles. Yeah, I've still got the fastest time on my middle school for the shuttle run or whatever, the cricket. You know, where you just do it really quickly back and forward. Did 100 metres for county, 11.4 or something was my best ever time. I was about 15, 14. I was very, very fast. Not anymore, I highly doubt. That was literally all I had going for me. When I played football, they would always put me right winger up front, and again, because I was so fast, I was like useful and I could dribble pretty good, but my finishing was awful. I was the equivalent of like Theo Walcott or something back when he was actually young and quick. Need like 50 chances to finish a goal. When will the double game week be confirmed? I think we went over it last stream and I'm not the best on fixtures. I think we don't find out until game week 14. Someone in the chat might know. It's either 14 or 15. No, wait, we're already on that, aren't we? Is the double game week's 18? I think we find out in 16 or 17. If Tal's still in the chat, he'll definitely know, and Andy will probably know as well. It's basically 1 game week or 2 game weeks before, which is kind of annoying. Lauren is 1 yellow away from being banned. I think quite a few people have actually got him, so that's something to be noteworthy of. Aston Villa. Steve Staunton still out, doesn't really play anymore. Cashlaw, 3 months, sorry. Joe Finley Badder had him as captain for most of last season. Now he's moved on to Hadji. Well, you like Traore. Obviously not quite as muscly as him, unfortunately. But it's when you are really quick and you've got a low centre of gravity, like me, and have really good acceleration, you could actually surprise people, outmuscle them, I guess, or just because you're so low, drive at them, kind of like the Aguero thing. But obviously not on Aguero's level. Just want to put that out there straight away. But without the grease. Yeah, no, there's no grease going on. League Cup on the 30th of November is when we should know the double game week prospects. Right, okay. So, yeah. 14 days. Crapid. That's it, Esquio. That's from Planet FPL podcast. That was very much me. Frank Leboeuf, do you think Pires has nailed a place? I don't think any Arsenal mid is nailed, so no. I would say he is their best midfielder. Can take penalties as well. And should be good for 30 games, I would guess. 25 to 30 games if you're unlucky. Could still be worth it at that price. Because he can be fantastic. Andy's saying, double game week is confirmed if Liverpool beat Arsenal in the League Cup 4th round. Won't know until the game week 16 stream. Okay. There you go, guys. There you have it. Right, let's move on from Villa. They actually play in 2 days' time, as you saw. So if you're waiting on John Malpass, you might get lucky. Blackburn. Again, no major news here. The popular guys are all fit. Duff, De Boer, Dunn, Janssen, Tugai, Vesterveld, Weatherall. They're all there. I assume you mean GVB. Yeah, as much as GVB is a great player, he possibly plays even less than Pires. So yeah, I don't think you can keep him. If you move to Pires, you just have to be aware that could easily backfire the very week you do it. If you want a more nailed 7 million midfielder, then obviously the likes of Petkov and Zepeda are just so reliable. In this game, and I've said it multiple times, when you go for midfielders, often having a midfielder that has set pieces and penalties, and if they play on the wing, and if they're in an attacking side as well, like Watford attack, even away from home quite a lot of the time, you always give yourself a chance. So even in these matches where they get smashed like 4-0 on the sim data, Petkov just needs a free kick. I think he scored a few now this season where he just bangs them in, or obviously gets an assist off of one or whatever. So they're just your more reliable midfield picks, I think. Pires doesn't have a hand in too many set pieces, but he does have pens, plus does play on the wing for a team that attacks a lot. He's obviously got more chance of scoring goals because Arsenal will score more goals than most, but then he also will miss out the odd game. So it's a fine balancing act. Remember, these prices are based on, they are based on the sim data, last year's prices, what's the potential, but in the individual sim, anything can happen. Sometimes Pires will play 35 and smash it. Sometimes we'll play 20 and do nothing. So how do we price him? We have to be kind of a little bit safe because it's a static price game. At the same time, we don't want to overprice people. It's very tough. So don't let prices affect you too much, I would say, in this. I mean, FPL is ripe for that at the moment as well. And CM Fantasy saying GVB played centre-back the other week. Yeah, they had a few injuries and their centre-backs are pretty awful. The fact that Upson or Tavladis have to even play in their first team sums up their defence really in that area. So he may occasionally feature there. Weatherall, the popular bench option. Oh yeah, from last week. Yeah, didn't expect that actually. I don't think many did. In fact, let's just go to that quickly. He was actually directly up against, who's on the left, Dion Dublin. Then they're both Man Mountains. So these are one of those occasions, I guess. If you see here, Dublin, who is very good in the air. He had 11 headers. He won 4, 1 key. Still got an 8. So they were challenging for them a lot. Weatherall just got the better of him on this occasion. 9, and he won 8 of them. So yeah, sometimes it's good to have even the weaker option where there's going to be a challenge all the time. Well, he's not weaker. He's actually got a higher amount of jumping. So he beat him more often. But when they're so close, you can't ever guarantee one will beat the other. Mo went for Tikhonov over Perez. Yeah, I know you did. It's cost you like 33 points. Yeah, that's mad. I mean, I probably would have gone for Tikhonov as well, just because the penalties. I get not. Yeah, I say Perez takes penalties. Sometimes Tikhonov does, as you know. So, yeah, and he's played a lot more than Perez has in our sim. So I probably would have done that as well. What team were we on? Lost myself already. Blackburn. Yeah, we did all that. They're gravy. Bolton. 8th in the Prem, doing very well. Colin Cooper still 1 yellow away from a ban. DeVos is 1 day, damaged foot, 90%. They actually play today, so he could easily feature versus Chelsea. Ricketts is wanted by Newcastle now. Transfer listed by request. It's not too bad, Ricketts. Like, he's bad, but he's not that bad. As you see, pace is quite good in this game. Pace and acceleration for a forward. Unfortunately, as we know from Newcastle, they don't play in that way. They play long ball. So if he did go to Newcastle and he did play, he'd be pretty fucking awful for them, I would imagine. Why are Villa so bad at doing goals? Didn't they score shitloads? Yeah, I mean, they haven't been as good as I'd expect. They have had some tough games, I think. And they did score originally quite a few when he first came, because their original manager's not great. But unfortunately, we didn't get the best version of Kenny. A lot of people run Sims, including me, straight away. And I was blown away by how many goals they were scoring. Unfortunately, he has no preferred style of play. And often you get Kenny with prefers an attacking style of play, which completely changes the dynamic, because then they play attacking in their home games and away games sometimes and everything. And obviously, that has a big effect on how the games go. The manager's the most important thing. So don't score a boatload, but I still think Angel and Dublin are good options and could easily both hit 15 goals or more. Midfielders don't score that often at all. Hadji can be very good. I mean, he has shown it, but yeah, they're just not massively consistent players. Determination 5. Yeah, not ideal, is it? So Carrick is 2 weeks with a chest injury as well. And Wally is now fully fit, I think. Yeah, so he was orange last time. So now he's fully fit. That's good for me. He's in my dead team. So welcome back. His 9 games, 1 assist, 7.2 rating. Love that. He does usually do better than that. He's a pretty good all-rounder. Pedersen as well, only 3 goals so far. Still backing him for 15 to 20 over the season, so they're coming soon. Getting it an awful lot in the pricing sims, but like I say, might not be in this one. Charlton, everyone's favourite team to target, or they should be, because their defence is woeful. They play today versus Millwall. We'll go for a preview of what I think might happen, etc. in a minute. And everyone is okay. They actually rep 12 last game, by the way. I don't know if anyone noticed, because Charlton play like the same team every single week. So I considered leaking this instead because it interested me. But I thought that if I did that, A, no one would care because all the main guys still play for Charlton, and then B, everyone would probably just think, oh, I'm doing that for some reason. Like Calvin Phillips goes mad, and although he did score, it's so hard to do the leaks without people trying to read into them. I would literally do it because it was interesting. But then next thing it'll be like, oh, Phillips didn't score a hat-trick. You're an arsehole. But yeah, as you can tell here by Fish coming in for Rufus. Jensen came in for Davis, but Davis may have been injured, so debatable. Johansson in for Bartlett. That only happens about 3 times a season. But then the main one that really shows that it's definitely a rep game is Luke Young played over Clegg. Clegg plays like 37 a season. He's come from Man United. He's actually decent. He's rep and everything, so it clearly shows. Charlton aren't going to have very many opportunities to rep, and obviously that they've taken that one. I'd be surprised if they do it again all season, but they could do. It's a bit of a random factor. Chelsea. And here's a bit of big news. Incredibly annoying news for me. The tank. The absolute rock at the back. Marcel Desailly, nailed on starter in my dead team, is out for a month because he got injured in an international game. So frustrating. So I've already got Hippier coming up for a 3-game ban, which is forcing me to play Evans from Millwall, who barely plays. And I had Terry sent off earlier in the season for 3 games, but he's back now. And now I've got Desai out for a month, which could be 4 to 5 week games. Which now means, so I'll have Hippier and Desai on my team, which now means I'm going to have Brian Hughes and Paul Evans if he plays every week. And if Paul Evans doesn't play, which he doesn't, I'll have Maddison come in. Sorry to talk you through my dead team, but I'll have about 4.5 million midfielders starting for me now each week, which is great stuff. Yeah, this is kind of annoying. The other thing that worries me with this is you can see how great Desai is, and he's fantastic, but I've talked about this before. He's 34 years old. Everyone peaks at different times. Clearly, he's not past his peak now. But when you get injured for a long time, you then don't train for a long time. So there's a chance, well, everyone's stats decline when they're not training. But when you add age to that as well, as you saw with Teddy Sheringham actually, for the beginning of this season, although he's obviously like nearly 40, sometimes their stats can decline to a point where then the AI doesn't consider them having a decent enough ability to play them. Now, I don't think that'll happen, but it's a worry. So I really hope that he gets back quickly. And they don't I mean, they have Gallas, who's good, you see. So that would be my concern. Best defender in the game, Mo saying, yeah, kind of annoying. Absolute beast. Craig saying that's knackered your plan. Yeah, annoying, innit? So couple that the fact with Babayaro is also out for 3 weeks. I mean, yes, people are saying is Gallas an option? Well, yeah, he is an option. The problem is I don't even know where they're going to play him, because you would expect he would come in both those circumstances, and they don't really have a left back. So the other one that they can sometimes play at left back is this guy, Warren Cummings, who's also out for 3 months. The other guy here is terrible. So Gallas could go to centre back, and then they play someone who can't even play left back at left back. That could happen. Or Gallas goes left back, and then they bring in a new centre back. So Dean Holden, they obviously signed recently. He's not particularly good, but he's not the worst in the world. So he may come in. But long story short, I'm not sure what positions they'll play, and their defence is obviously weaker as a result of it. Doesn't change the tactic, how they set up, stuff like that. But I mean, going from Desai to Holden's a pretty big downgrade. If Gallas plays left back, Gallas can do fine at left back. He does have some attacking threat as well. So do you think you maybe might not win this year? You never know. You never know. Could Petit play left back? I mean, he could, because he's quite versatile. More likely he would play centre back, which he did a few times in season 1. He can actually play there. So you could have Petit go centre back, Gallas go left back, and then they could just bring in any person in centre midfield. Really, they've got a few options like Dalabona, etc. But yeah, a month. So we're on the 16th now, aren't we? So all the way to the 16th. Now he'll probably go orange, and they might feature. So he could be orange for Man United. But let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games he's likely to miss. Frustrating. Good Johnson at centre back. Yeah, that happens in game. But he is defender. Yeah, he can play defender, and he is left footed. But it's usually centre back. Could be some comings and goings in the Chelsea defence. Operation Target Chelsea. I wouldn't go that far. They're still, the way they set up, they're still reasonably solid. What else was I going to mention? Oh, Forsell. People said talk about Forsell. I've talked about him quite a lot, I think. Yeah, he's good. He's obviously on the up and coming. He is a good player. He's not the best in the world, but he's certainly not the worst. And Zola's been out injured, but he did actually kind of replace Zola a bit, even though Zola wasn't injured, I think. Zola's reputation is so high that he won't fail to feature, but I think more likely it will be off the bench moving forward. Pricing sims suggest he started a max of about 10 games in a season, Zola. So whether it happens yet or not is another thing, because he's been out injured, so it's hard to judge. But he's already had 9 starts. I don't know. I would say Forsell's fairly nailed, but it is always liable to come off early as well, especially if they've got Zola on the bench. Obviously, it could be Good Johnson, but he usually plays a little bit more. We've also got Leon Knight, who is, anyone who's played this game knows, actually can get really good. But yeah, I doesn't really like him that much. I don't know if Chelsea forwards the best. I mean, when they've got a good run, fair enough, or targeted games, but keeping them long term is usually not the best idea, just because they don't score that many goals compared to some other people. They obviously don't come with penalties. Their average rating's okay, but when you've got Terry Desai and stuff, they generally take the bonus. So I don't know if it's for me outside of a few targeted games. I do like Full Sail though. Okay, we've done that to death, haven't we? Yeah. Zola is not Zola. Did I actually click Zola? Yeah, a few days with a thigh strain. Stanic as well, but I don't think anyone's got him. And Babiara, yeah, 3 weeks. Yeesh. Evening Springbok. Derby, they play today. Their entire team is fit. Massive squad. Let's move along. Everton, they also play today away to Sunderland. There's a few injuries to players who don't really play. 1 day, few days, Tal. I would slow down on these guys to catch up. If I thought for a second they would play. I mean, this guy played last season a couple of times, but I don't think they're relevant. So a few days for all these guys. Everyone else is okay. I didn't even realise GX played there last week. GX watch. It's always fun. Derby central midfield scoring points again. Yep. It seems to be where they score a lot of their points, isn't it? I mean, their tactic is pretty much designed so that these guys get forward, and it's usually whoever plays this role that does the best. Sometimes has an up arrow, but it's not always the case. It's like the Matty Holland Ipswich role. Or the Jason Kumas, whoever plays there. But yeah, Oakley, Morris, Valakari. I mean, Morris it's not done bad for 5 million. It's not the worst, but it's just a little bit unsexy, isn't it? Oakley can score a few, but it's not been great for him. Valakari, the thing is, he can play that DM role away from home. Or just in tougher games, they generally play with a DM role. Which means the wing isn't as vulnerable when they play that way in that other formation, I think, but it is still vulnerable. Is Morris a must-have now? No, I don't think so. I'd rather chance Chadwick, I think, at 5 mil. Ravanelli scored 4 in 4 weeks for me. What a legend! Yeah, I was pointed out last time actually. He's been on a bit of a tear. Just getting him when the fixtures turned. I think it was Watford, was it? Yeah. And then just holding him worked out a masterstroke. He's another who can get 15 goals in a season, if not more. Morris 4 weeks running with something, is it? Okay, nice. Ipswich. So they haven't signed a keeper. Reed is still in goal. 2 8s. It's not the worst, is it? I think he made a mistake for one of the goals. Certainly not been as shocking as I thought he might be at 16, but say he looks like he's got some sort of potential, so there you go. Gunnarsson is 10 days with a bruised shin, 85%. Fanidi still wanted? Still wanted by Liverpool, but transfer listed, wants to move, but Liverpool just ain't putting the money up. Not that we really want them to, I wouldn't have thought. Well, maybe it'll be good. Richard Naylor still wanted by Plymouth. And they play today. Doherty obviously played up front, scored a goal. Royzer would have really liked, I mean, it looked like he could have a really good game here. He's a really good player actually. Didn't work out, but getting a few more minutes this season. Will Doherty be up front this week? Who knows is the answer. It could quite easily be in defence instead. They have got all their forwards fit, I believe. Why am I back on Everton? Yeah, so you never know. If I'd have seen his stats, I wouldn't have touched him. Pure nostalgia pick. Revanelli's stats aren't the worst. He's just getting a bit older. They're not that bad. It's only about key stats in this game, right? And as a forward, jumping, very important. 18 there. Pace is not good, but they don't really play that way. Determination, bravery, agility, that's important. Yeah, they're not the best, but off the ball 15, that's fairly high. pure nostalgia prick for me. Leeds, who are having a bit of time of it at the moment, aren't they, with injuries, have added another, which I think was tweeted out actually. So let me just check. They play in 2 days, so bear in mind we've got some time to recover there. However, I don't think it's going to help in most cases. So Dewberry is out 3 weeks, 90%. That's been a while now, so I wouldn't expect him to come in. Keegan's a 19-year-old kid. He's injured for 3 weeks. He won't be playing. The Chief, Radaby, is 2 weeks with a groin strain. Red, so definitely won't be playing unless he turns orange in 2 days, but unlikely. Lennon, 2 months. He doesn't really feature anyway. But Master, who can also get good, a week. Bruised shin. Kelly, 10 days. Gashed leg. Ireland's 3-1 win over Hungary. And there's some Irish fans in here who've got Irish teams. There you go. Richie Partridge tearing it up. Doherty up front with the 9. 4 shots, 3 on target. It's only Hungary. Playing up front for Ireland. Hart with the assist. Love to see it. It's not a bad team in this at all, is it? McPhail, Duff, Roy Keane, Partridge. Not bad at all. Hart. Anyway, he's out for 10 days with a gashed leg, so that helps Maybury, of course. Bridges, we already know. Sad story. 6 months with a broken leg. His season's over. Sad times. And Robbie Keane, the man with the greatest stats ever, but doesn't seem to perform. He's out for 3 weeks with a twisted ankle. So not a massive amount of time. However, in terms of fixtures, where are we? 16th. Someone who's clever, do the maths. 14 puts it at 30, doesn't it? So 7th, around the 7th. So 1, 2, 3, could be 4, but probably not. Depends if they play him orange and he gets re-injured. So it looks like to me only maybe missed 3 games. Could have that wrong. So people have been asking a lot about Alan Smith, and yeah, I mean, he's pretty nailed to start, I would say. I'll never say completely nailed. They can play Harry Kewell up front, could play Berkovic up front, could play any of these kids, but generally Alan Smith will play now. I would have said like 95%. And is that the 3 teams? Is it Villa at home, Derby away, Watford at home? It's pretty sexy. Pretty sexy, yeah. Do like that. There's his stats. We all know he's a tank. Superb morale. If you think that thing matters, the game certainly intended it to matter. Whether it does or not is debatable, but it's certainly there. Still in for Henrik. I believe they are, but as we can see from the Rui Costa saga, these things can take time. So I wouldn't worry about that. If it happens, you just react to it, but there's a good chance it just doesn't happen. Someone said actually compare Smith. How much are we? They said that was one of the questions, so I may as well just answer that now. Actually, so as you can see, Smith he's great. Like, he is a really good forward. The AI does well with him scoring goals. Actually, when I play with him myself, I sometimes don't get him to score that many goals, but that's obviously not particularly relevant to what's going on here. The only thing that he's fantastic all over the place. The only thing that really lets him down is the jumping's 14, which isn't the greatest for considering the AI create nearly all their chances out wide, cross it in for headers. So many goals are headers. So his actual heading is good. He can get it on target, but against most of the centre backs in the league, he's basically at a disadvantage for actually winning the header. But it doesn't matter. He can still score a boatload of goals. People say, what's the difference between Viduka? Well, as you can see, Viduka's just more specialist in his role as a striker, and he's got that 20 for jumping. So who scores more goals between them? Quite often it's Viduka. That's why he's that price. He's consistent, but there is nothing to say that Smith can't match him. It's only really the heading that lets him down. Larson with a 6.88 average rating at Celtic. No idea how. Yeah, they're just made up, basically. The leagues aren't loaded, so it doesn't make any difference. It's just, it's just made that up totally. Leicester. Play tomorrow. Sinclair is out for 10 days. Who plays right back? So Rowett, I think, plays right back. Not that anyone's going to be particularly interested. Taggart, he's obviously very good. He's got a 1-match ban after picking up 5 yellows, so he will not play. They're playing home to Watford, aren't they? Yeah, so it's not particularly. I mean, in another game, you might target the defence as a result of one of their best defenders being out. But Heath has been playing. Elliott will be the other guy. It's not the worst, and you don't really want a Watford striker away from home, I would say. Is its attacking instinct fell off a cliff recently? I mean, it was ridiculously high. It was never gonna keep up to that level. But this is the thing. It only takes one game to turn it around. Stephen Hughes was really good, then it fell off a cliff, then he was at home to Millwall, and even though they had a red card, he still managed to turn it around. So, Isak could turn it around at any point. Just needs a penalty as well. The games are still good for a while, I think, aren't they? Home to Watford, home to Blackburn, away to Sunderland, home to Man City, away to Leeds is obviously horrific, home to Millwall, home to Ipswich. I mean, that's still a really nice run apart from that one game. So I wouldn't bin I personally wouldn't bin him if you got him at all. But Liverpool. Hancho still got his 2-game ban. Hippier is available for this one, but then has his 3-match ban after. Everyone else is okay. Redknapp is still wanted by Ipswich and Watford. Hurry up and move. Owen's at 100%. It's Stephen Wright is out for 2 months with a hip injury, so it's after this week when Hancho and Hippier are banned, and then Wright's still injured, that they're going to struggle in central defence. But they're playing Charlton away, so if there's any game you want to miss your defenders out, it's probably that one. However, the likes of Jason Ewell could do pretty well in that game. Charlton always seem to score, don't they? So yeah, might not be the worst idea to get Jason Ewell in. I think a lot of the simmers, who quite a lot of them are in the chat, are saying that Michael Owen performs very well in this next upcoming game, home to Newcastle. Obviously he's a very good player. Generally Liverpool don't score a massive amount of goals, or they're more shared out than quite a lot of teams, but so that makes me nervous of having Owen. But I think he's got a really nice run. Home to Newcastle, away to Charlton, home to Villa. That's not bad by any means. So I suppose if there's ever a time to have Owen, it is probably now. And yeah, so I'm told he does really well against Newcastle, so I don't doubt that. Newcastle haven't got particularly good centre backs for jumping, so the fact that his is so low might not hinder him as much. That might be part of it. Liverpool pens with Hippier out. Yeah, it's a hard one with Liverpool. They're one of the hardest teams anyway, even when Hippier plays. Sometimes even when Hippier plays, he doesn't get them, even if he's taken one the week before. All I know is that Owen's definitely got 19, I think 19 or 18, pretty sure it's 19 for penalties. And then the likes of Lippman and Murphy have all got around 18, 19 as well. So sometimes it just flip-flops. Murphy has taken quite a few in our sim, I know that. I can't remember whether Owen was playing at the time. And Lippman takes them quite a lot as well. So it's one of Owen, Lippman or Murphy. That doesn't particularly help you, does it? And I think that just because, let's say we find out this week and there's a penalty, it doesn't mean that they'll continue on them. So you just literally can't rely on them. Is it just 2 League Cup games Hippier misses? It's not 2 League Cup games. No, he's out for 3 games. So he misses Charlton, then Arsenal in the League Cup, then Aston Villa. So he misses 2 Premier League games, if that's what you meant. Oh yeah, just 2 league games. Sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah, it's just 2 league games he'll miss. Pretty sure. Let's move on. Man City played today, home to Arsenal. McNamara is out for 2 weeks. Everyone else is okay. No, set pieces and finishing don't particularly have anything to do with penalty taking ability. No. There's all sorts of stats that people theorise. Penalties are really... if you look on the forums and look at what people have looked at, and how the AI picks them sometimes isn't even always on the penalty stat. But it's thought that composure, finishing can help. Because the AI will often pick people with a lesser penalty stat. Sometimes they pick on other things. Is it leadership or something like that as well that they sometimes pick? And that's why it often goes to defenders, because obviously they've got like high influence and stuff like that. So in actual ability to take them, you just need a high penalty stat and finishing. I think that's what all ever I base it on. Any reason behind City good defence results? City are just a pretty good defence in this game overall. I think I posted like a average goals and average goals conceded chart at the beginning, and for a promoted team, Man City are pretty good in home games. They've got George Graham, so he's quite known for being pretty sound, and he plays all these offside traps, man marking, closing down, which can be a clusterfuck if it doesn't really suit the particular opponent he's facing. But yeah, their defence is fairly solid. That's why a lot of people went Howie at the beginning, because he can often get penalties as well. Hurtado would probably be my favourite pick now, although the fullbacks can get a lot of assists. McQuell he's got 1 goal, but he can get quite a few assists as well. They're not terrible options by any means. Is Alfie Haaland the best 4 million defender? He doesn't play all the time, does he? Plays in midfield, does he? I mean, I just wouldn't touch that, because just doesn't play often enough. It's all about Galley deep. At least you know he's going to turn up. Although having said that, Galley's nearly 40 years old and often will drift away as the season goes on. Where is he? He's 39. So the decline's clearly starting now. He's literally relying on his positioning, that the regen bug. He's like the 5th version. Positioning never goes down in this game. Therefore goals always drop as you play it, unless you have the patches. So his influence and his positioning are high. His marking's good. His jumping's okay. So slow. But after a while it will take its toll, like Teddy, especially towards the back end, and he may end up getting phased out, so we might lose him towards the back end, but I still think he's the best right now. You think Hangland start? Okay, so we started there. Was Flitcroft, not Flitcroft, was Horlock injured? Maybe Horlock was injured. Let me see. Because I can't see Horlock anywhere here. So I think maybe Horlock was injured, Andy. I'll check in a minute, see his injury history. Oh, it doesn't say he was. Well, never know. Maybe. Surprised at that, but maybe. Could be onto something. Drift away into the bright light. Yeah, like Ghost. Just walks into the light. Manchester United, who play today, have everyone fit and available. So if they could turn up, it would be pretty fucking nice, because it's been pretty shit, hasn't it? I mean, they haven't been blowing teams away here by any means, considering how expensive their assets are. You'd expect them to score a boatload of goals, which we're used to. To lose 2-0 to City. Van Nistelrooy, no bonus. They lost again to Deportivo here. That's obviously not involved. Sunderland, he got 1 goal, didn't he? Not max bonus. And then 0-0 home to Liverpool. Tough game to be fair, but usually at home it's like a 1-0 or something, and you still expect Van Nistelrooy to get an 8, but it's been painful with him, Parma captain. I see a Van Nistelrooy Hattie in the future, Spurs away. And this is where, when I say in this game that form doesn't matter, I mean, I don't know that for sure. It's been discussed so much on the boards as to whether it matters or not. The game certainly intended it to matter, and they had, it's in the manual, and obviously morale plays a part in it. People have done tests, it's never come up with anything conclusive. But you can follow form, that's absolutely fine, and it could work. There's no reason not to do it. But what I mean by that is, even if a player is in shocking form, so you could say that Man United in general are in bad form and Van Nistelrooy is in bad form, is all it needs is one game to completely change it around. That's kind of what I mean by it. So away to Spurs now, if he could easily score 2 or 3, like you've just said, and they win 4-0, and you just wouldn't bat an eyelid. Like, that's what I mean. Is you can never count out form just instantly reappearing, which I guess is kind of like real football in a way, isn't it? You can look at Spurs. I know they got Kane back, but they've been dreadful for the 3 games, and they play home to West Brom and they play all right and score a few goals. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, the fixture might probably help them there. So that's probably not the best example because Kane came back, but you get what I'm saying. John Shanley, haven't watched the preview. Yeah, I've not seen it yet myself, but yeah, that'll be high scoring, I would imagine, or at least have the potential to be. Man United will attack and Spurs will attack as usual. So I think in season 1, didn't Van Nistelrooy score a brace away from home? I believe he did. It's like 3-2 or something like that. So doesn't mean he's going to score again, but he better fucking do something this time, I tell you, because he's been useless for me. While everyone else is over Viduka. Not that I'm bitter. I say all this, I kind of still don't want my team to do that well, because then people will say I'm cheating. So it's like I'm willing them to do well, at the same time I'm hoping they do shit. Yeah. Today, Middlesbrough. Charlie Miller's 87%. Not injured. So just low condition. Johnston's on 93. He's like one of the most nailed players in the game. So I suppose Miller could miss out because they've got loads of options, but new signing and everything, he probably plays as well. What was the Spurs versus Man United result last season? Andy says. I think it was 3-2, but we can go back and have a look to be sure, can't we? 3-2, 3-1. I think it's because yeah, Taller's got it on his mug. There you go. Man United won 3-2. Van Nistelrooy got 2 goals. You have to bear in mind that obviously Man United had a different manager there, so tactics slightly different. It's not exactly the same thing, but that was the game. For all Mr. Penalty. God. Adam Sands, can we look at Rickard's stats? Of course we can, my friend. Atherton suspended for 2 games still. Did Stockdale play last game? Yeah. Probably the repeat of that. Johnston playing almost that DM role now there. Not ideal. He still delivered though, didn't he? Oh, he didn't in this one. He's been delivering recently though. That was on the left wing. Yeah, so if you've got the postman, you obviously want him on the wing, ideally. Rickard. Where is Rickard? Where is he? Very good player in this, to be honest. Key stats are great. Strength, heading, jumping. Off the ball still high enough. Pace, acceleration. Anticipation could be better. Agility's high. Aggression's high. Determination's high. Dribbling, finishing, fine. Yeah, good striker. Middlesbrough just got good players all over their team. Which you don't need me to tell you. League speaks for itself. Millwall. Yeah, today they play. So Kinney, which I think Andy Martin said was his tip for this week, but I don't know if he knew he was out. However, has he played? I think he's played on 90% for the last couple of weeks, or maybe it was last week. Pretty sure he was still 90% last week. So I'd expect he probably plays again, going with that. I've noticed actually when it says damaged foot, they often actually play. So I think what kind of injury it is does have an impact. Usually muscle injuries don't play, but I don't know if there's a 100% direct correlation there. Could Borough players be picked off? Yeah, sure. Any of them can be picked off. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if Andy wants to change it. If he does, he'll probably tweet. I don't know if he's still in the chat. Savarese, who has got an excellent little run, is a few days 90% as well. Twisted knee, so he could also play, but may not feature. Didn't play last week. I think home to Charlton is obviously such a fantastic game, even though Millwall are trash. I mean, targeting Charlton's a good bet. So that's kind of annoying because, yeah, I'd fancy Savarese in that game. Nethercott's 2 weeks, orange. He doesn't play. Nurse is out for 2 weeks. He won't play either. Thoughts on Alexanderson? Yeah, he can do okay. He's on the wing. He's obviously not done much so far. But you don't very often get wingers for 4.5 million in this game. I know Maddison can play there. He's not the worst. I think Simmers will tell you he can often do okay. So, especially for a targeted game against Charlton. I mean, if you're literally bringing him, if it's like a free hit or something, or you just have to replace a 4.5 and you want to play him, then yeah, he fits the bill perfectly. Samba punt. Well, Savarese was out last game and Samba didn't play. Eiffel played up front, so it's a risk. Andy Martin, I still think Kane, but I'll go for whoever plays left mid on for Millwall. Okay, nice. Well, Stephen Reed's played there a few times, isn't it? So it could end up being him if Kane is not fit. And we all know what Stephen Reed can do when he plays in midfield. So could also turn out to be equally good. One goal, Neil Harris. I laugh at that because like we've been trying to do is create a free hit team. I was going to show you. I think I put him in. Show you that in a sec. Newcastle, they play today away to Liverpool. Matteo is 60% with a gash leg, so he won't play. Good news for Newcastle. Shearer's still 1 yellow away from being banned. Barton's 1 yellow from ban. Everyone is fit though. Chettle still wanted by QPR. Laurent Robert, that was it. Where are you, Lauren? There you are. 3-match ban starting on the 24th. I don't think many people have got him, but just generally will impact Newcastle's attack because they don't really have any other replacement good wingers. So he'll miss Bolton, Chelsea, Ipswich, unless any other games go in there. I think they're out of the League Cup. Will they sack their manager soon? I mean, he's not on the list of job security, so I guess not. But maybe. Yeah, I'm not saying he was rubbish in real life. He was a bit of a thug in real life, wasn't he, if I remember rightly? But yeah, he's just not a centre back. He's fine at left back. He's okay. Oh yeah, forgot about Jeffers. Thank you, Andy. Where's Franny? For his right hook on Bowyer, 23rd of November. So Sunderland, Liverpool, Tottenham. He'll miss. Liverpool's obviously a League Cup. 2 games. Dreadful game, I think, of this Newcastle playing Liverpool away. I'd be surprised if anyone from Newcastle doesn't think. Obviously, Shearer's a bags man. He can score in any game and he can get a penalty. But it'd be one of them games where I'd be surprised if they're more than like 2 shots on target. To be honest, playing long ball to a team who play short passing and are so solid at home, and then they set up defensively. Yeah, Hippier's a decent captain this week, by the way. I think I saw who mentioned it. I can't remember who's mentioned it now. Rory, who does the comms, he said he was thinking about captaining Hippier. I don't think that's the worst idea. I mean, there's loads of good captains this week, so I mean, you don't need to take a punt there, but that could be clean sheet bonus, penalty, something, you know, could be a melt shot. Get 2 or 3 goals, a couple of penalties, open play. You never know. Does this mean Bergkamp is now an option? There's still Canu, Pep. There's still Canu. Canu and Henry. Canu's actually favoured above Jeffers most of the time and Bergkamp, so just don't think you can touch any of them unless you've got a leak. Surprised Jeffers didn't get 8 games. Normally happens for a punch. Yeah, maybe you just use some poetic license. Should we have a look? Should we spoil the enigma? Oh, Bowyer was punched in the face by Jeffers. There you go. He's not making out. Strange. Yeah, Mo's saying Canu's more nailed than Bergkamp. Yeah, I agree with that. Sunderland, today they play, and only Swartz, who is long term, 4 months. Everyone else is fine. So yeah, Kevin Phillips, home penalties against Everton. Expecting big things from you, my man. Don't let me down. If you got Tome, I'll be very tempted to play him this week. Sunderland aren't great for clean sheets, but this is as good a chance as you're probably going to get, or one of the chances, and in any case you'll probably get an 8 or 9 and get bonus, right? So I'd be very tempted to play Tome. We've all wanted to punch Bowyer, to be honest. Yeah, didn't Dyer want to punch him when they were on the same team once? I remember that. Pretty sure it was Dyer. Spurs. Darren Anderson, of course, few days, 45% however, so he will not be playing even though he's orange. Dean Richards is 10 days, he's red, so no chance for him either. Simon Davies is 1 yellow away from being banned. That's about it. Sereni not off to a great start with a 4 last week. I'm convinced the Spurs tactic do something strange with their goalkeepers, because Sereni's half decent and it doesn't seem to matter too much who they bring in here. Just from playing in the past, I've seen that Spurs have got good keepers. They often sign different keepers, and they still ship loads of goals. So it's mostly their tactic, obviously. But you never know the individual player instructions. I wouldn't be surprised if Glenn Hoddle's got him up front or something in the wib-wob. Goes up front when they go into a certain box. Giggs versus Fortune. Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, and it's been proved so many times actually that when a team set up with just one on the wide areas against a team that has 2, they can often do pretty well in that area. Giggs is against Fortune, as Mo just said. I really like Giggs this week actually for that reason. And he's in my free hit team, which I'll show you in a sec. So yeah, that could be a good matchup. Chadwick, yeah, if he plays, he could do really well as well. Watford play tomorrow. Ryan Williams is 2 weeks with a groin strain. He's the only one who's really got a chance of playing. Everyone else is okay. Targeting the flanks versus Everton, a good idea. Arcateal, yeah. Same logic applies there. That's assuming Everton will play that formation though. Everton play a whole host of weird formations. You can never be sure. They can play the spiral away from home, if I remember rightly. Let me have a look. A few games. This is the one where the width is still targetable that Derby switched to, but when they play it, it's not as vulnerable, I don't think. DMs are really good in this game, and they just improve you in all areas, because when you've got the wib-wob with the box and you click here, you'll see that the DM is like here. And you click here, you'll see the DM's like over here. So that's why they're so powerful in this game, or part of the reason. So they're not as vulnerable, but they are still vulnerable if they play that. This is the other one they can play. So this was against a slightly higher reputation team. The mentality can be different, but the formation can change. So you would have a double up here, and then obviously you'd only have one person on this side. So it's just it's more. There's some teams that never change their formation, right? So they're more reliable to do that. Question: how long is this one yellow from suspension? Feels like Lauren has that flag for ages. I can't remember actually. I think there's a certain game week where it resets, but I honestly don't know when that is, and it seems to be a bit buggy. The best thing to do would just be to Google it, because it's based on real life. So whatever the rules were in 2001, 2002, or yeah, it will still be 2001, 2002, because obviously the game rules don't change. Will be what it is in here. I love how Luke says wibwob as if it's regular vocabulary. Sorry, yeah. I don't know how else to explain that. That's a very good point, though. Ignore everything I said. I can't bother to explain it. We haven't got long enough for that. Been surviving on Cooper for weeks, not complaining. Yeah. Right. Oh, let me just see if there's any transfer rumours quickly before I do like a bit of a preview. We've talked through a bit of a preview as I've been going there, right? A. Kelly from Blackburn has gone to Portsmouth. He's their goalkeeper, right? Yeah. Alan Kelly, he's gone. He's out of here. C. Hansen has gone from Middlesbrough to Wimbledon on loan. Good lad, Chelsea has gone to Wimbledon on loan, so nothing exciting. Rumours, still from last week, if you remember, Thomas Antolilis. Coventry to Millwall was rumoured. Henrik Larsson, Celtic to Leeds. Klaus Lundekvam, Southampton to Newcastle. David Prutton, Nottingham Forest to Newcastle, that's still rumoured. Rui Costa, Milan to Arsenal, still rumoured. Yes, Pirlo's beard, just saw that. Mark Williams, who's a defender, Wimbledon to Watford. We've not looked at him, we've looked at the other ones, so let's bring him up. They're after a 32-year-old defender to replace Galley. Scouting system's so bad in this game. High reputation, plays for Ireland, old, chances reputation just keeps going up because he's known. Therefore he's a good signing. There we go. What other rumours? Dion Burton still rumoured to leave to go to Brentford. They're interested in him. Steve Chettle, QPR as you saw, and R. Naylor from Ipswich to Plymouth. Within, so club to club, Fanidi to Liverpool, still rumoured. Chris Perry, Tottenham to Leeds. That's something we saw last week, I'm pretty sure. So that could be interesting. Jamie Redknapp, we've already looked at that, haven't we? Could be going Watford or Ipswich. And Ricketts, we looked at that. Bolton to Newcastle, potentially. Get 8 years out of him, no problem, says CM Fantasy. Yeah, very good point. Money well spent. Wimbledon busy with the ins and outs. Whoa. Lost quite a few, yeah. Right. Fixtures. CM Fantasy's in the chat. He obviously does his video. Highly recommend watching that every single week. Gives you a nice idea how the games will go. I say this all the time. Lots of simmers out there who do their work in Discord. You don't want to base everything off of sims, of course, but they're very handy to, if you're not sure how the games will go. We don't have any eye tests in this game, so it's almost like the bookies odds, really, right? But anything can happen with real football. That's the way to look at it. These are the bookies odds, but it's football, so literally any fucking thing can happen at any time. Rudiger can stick the ball in his own net to get rid of a banker clean sheet, etc. England results. Oh, Andy, you're always off piste, aren't you? You're always going off piste. Find me an English. I clicked on this team just to pick an Englishman. Chelsea ain't got any. They lost 2-0 to Italy. Of course, Montella banged 2 goals. Chris Kirkland in goal. Doesn't even start. Rockin Campbell, Hargreaves, Barmby, Owen and Fowler up top. They went with the Liverpool boys. No time for Terry, Beckham, Phillips, Scholes. Did they have 2 games? No. Craig Kemp saying Man City versus Arsenal is one of the biggest variance games I've seen in Sims this week. Okay, highly interesting. Makes sense. Again, Man City with those strange tactical setups that can work or not work. Arsenal attacking, short passing, offside track doesn't really work. So I suppose, yeah, it could be all over the place. And Man City are just generally pretty good at home. The strikers can cause problems for anyone. One Chop, Huckabee's, I mean, One Chop's pretty good, I think. And Arsenal centre-backs aren't particularly. They also play zonal marking, I'm pretty sure. So that means they can just be tragic sometimes. Don't talk to me about Rudiger. Luke signed him this week in FPL. Oh, mate. I got 27 points this week in FPL. Fuck it. Back of shit. I'm so past caring, though, about an FPL. Preview. Focus, Luke. Focus. Right. So, yeah, I can only go on my feel. I haven't watched any of these. I haven't looked at CM Fantasy's video yet. I haven't really looked at Sims apart from just seeing the odd bit of chat. So I'm just going to go on my feel. I could be totally wrong. It's just my thoughts. So Blackburn home to Derby. That should be, I would say, a comfortable win for Blackburn on paper. 1-2-0, 3-0. I think they should. I mean, they may concede, but in fact, it's brave to predict a clean sheet ever in this game, isn't it? But yeah, I'd say Blackburn by 2 goals would probably be my instinct there. De Boer, Janssen, the usual guys will be good. I think Mo says, who does Sims and pays attention to the tacticals, they play that airplane formation most of the time in this game. So the 3 at the back one. I don't think it's 100% nailed, but this is probably what they'll play, and that'll probably be their team. My old doll thought I was watching a video of myself on YouTube. Reckons you're my twin. Alright, we're up for a bit of a keys in basket moment. John, let me know. Send me a picture first, though. If she's watching, make sure she didn't hear that. Tempted to skip a Ronald de Boer. I mean, it could work. It worked against Charlton. Derby ship a lot of goals. It's not a bad shout. I just think there's a lot of other ones and maybe a bit of a freak because De Boer, he generally doesn't do that well in terms of hauls, but could he score one? Yeah, all day. Chelsea versus Bolton. I mean, they've got a lot of the defenders out, but Chelsea make games usually quite low scoring. So, and Bolton are really good. They finish like top 6 a lot, so I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in that game. Could be a score draw, 2-1 Chelsea. I wouldn't have thought Bolton would win. Headphones on. Good man. Ipswich at home to Middlesbrough. Yeah, I'd say Middlesbrough have just got a far better team, but obviously playing away is not ideal. So again, could be a score draw. Middlesbrough I'd back though, probably 2-1 Middlesbrough, 3-1 Middlesbrough, something like that. If we get lucky. Doherty plays up front. Could still get a clean sheet and score. Still be tempted to play him. Still think Ronald de Boer can score 15 goals this season, mate. Yeah, could do, yeah. Could do. I'd put him down more for like, I don't know, 8 to 10, but he scored quite a lot already, so. Shanley, she must think you're an epic narcissist. Liverpool, Newcastle. I mean, I would have just put, this is probably one of the most nailed clean sheets this week, I think. There's no such thing in CM, is there? But yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't get one. Liverpool don't score a hatful, but the game's dreadful for Newcastle, and apparently Owen does very well in here, so maybe they score more than I think. So I'll go like 3-0, 4-0 maybe. We'll do questions in a sec, John. I'll answer that in a sec. Man City, Arsenal. As Craig just told me, this is high variance, so I don't know. I'll go score draw, no clean sheets, 2-2. Not a clue on that one. Henri, One Shop, all the usual names. Perez could all do well, I suppose. Tiato returns like every single week, as I always mention. apart from when he was injured. Millwall Charlton. There should be goals in this game, surely. Millwall with the home advantage. Still can't see him keeping a clean sheet though. 2-1 Millwall, 3-1, 3-2. Should be a pretty fun game. Sunderland at home to Everton. Yeah, I think Sunderland should win this game. Possible clean sheet because Everton are pretty dreadful away from home. Sunderland aren't the best for clean sheets, so yeah, 2-1 Sunderland, 2-0 Sunderland. Hopefully more. Hopefully Phillips can get me a hat-trick. Decent captain this week, I think. Spurs versus Man United, both on attacking. Literally anything can happen. It was 3-2 last time, so we'll go for that again. Why not go for that again? 3-2 to Man United again, but I hope there's goals in that. Man United's games have been deprived of goals lately, so hopefully they can turn it round. Craig's had a 0-0 draws, 4-1 City, 3-0 Arsenal. Okay, yeah, it's a complete crapshoot then. Sometimes that's quite fun though, isn't it? Because some games, I know people. I was saying about sim data doesn't, don't read everything into sim data, but sometimes you will have a game where it is just literally the other team has an average goals of like 0.4 or something ridiculous. So the chances of them scoring are so slim. So you've got a back clean sheet for that team in those instances. But when it's just all over the gaff and there's no clear pattern, there's no point trying to force it. You just have to say, I haven't got a clue what's going to happen here. And a lot of the time these games, they're impacted by when the timing of the goal is, right? So they may seem like there's not much of a pattern, but if you went back through those sims, Craig, and had a look at them, I bet the timings of the goals would matter. So if they score very early on, obviously they change their mentality, the way they set up, and therefore the games can go all over the place as a result. If the teams don't score for like the first 40 minutes, then yeah, it's a bit different, obviously. I see Leicester versus Watford and think playoff semi. Yeah, could be. This should be fairly open as well. Leicester aren't the best offensively though, but I mean, if you've got the likes of Izzet, Scowcroft, you're obviously going to be playing in this game and hoping for something. Delaney, Watford will attack away from home. They can be normal, but they often attack away from home as well. So 2-1 Leicester probably. 5 Reds in City versus Arsenal. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Arsenal play hard tackling, don't they? Pretty sure they do. So there can often be Reds as a result of that. They play hard tackling. What do Man City play? Can't remember if it's hard or not. They play normal. But yeah, if one of the teams has got hard tackling and you got unlucky, maybe you had your Rennie in for a few of them, or strict referees plus hard tackling is obviously going to give you more chance. Where were we? Oh, we're on the preview. Go back, Luke. And the last one, Leeds Villa. Yeah, Villa are shocking away from home against big sides. They play defensive and men behind ball. They don't even try to attack. So this will be another game I would expect where Villa will have like one shot on goal, maybe 3-4 max. Leeds clean sheet looking very strong. So Leeds will probably end up just grinding them down, and it might be low scoring as a result because they are so defensive. But again, it's like what I said about the timing of the goal. So if Leeds score really early on, or Villa were to freakishly score, then the game could be completely different. But yeah, I'd back sort of a 2-0, 3-0. I mean, because they have the ball so much and the players are still good, they can still just end up smashing through it and win 3 or 4-0 like Man United often do. So still goals in the game. And we talked about Smith, didn't we? I think he's a really good option. I don't know whether I'd captain him just because Villa are so defensive away from home. How have they done away from home against the big sides? So they played that shit formation here against Arsenal. 2 shots off target. There you go. Arsenal obviously got through right towards the end though. Look. Who else have they played away from home? Big team. Man United. Defensive, yeah. Only 1-0 here. Not that many shots for Man United. 1 shot on target. So this is the kind of game you're probably looking at. Last season. Away to Arsenal. Of course, they managed to beat him. 1 shot, 1 on target, went in. Brilliant. So this is the kind of freak that you can see happen, but obviously playing the percentages in the 90th minute as well. Wow, what a burn. You see what I'm getting at. So even if the other team's good, it's still reasonably hard to break down. One more, should we try? They had a sending off in the 4th minute here, so that's the other thing. Throw in some red cards. I mean, even though they had this red card, look, the goals all came at the very end of the game. The goals had if that red card had happened, obviously Veron scored there early, and then maybe Man United scored again, and it was 2-0 from the 15th minute. Man United would take the foot off the gas, and it would probably just end 2-0. Last season they beat Leeds with the same tactics. Leeds have got a different manager now, so they did, but Leeds played in a different style. But yeah, that's a very high scoring game. They get 5 shots on target, which is a lot for that tactic, but 4 of them went in. It's a bit of a freak again. Nigel Martin played a 5. It's this sort of thing that you can't legislate for keepers just having an absolute shocker, and this is what we love about it, right? The Sims can say this is the average of what happens, but what happens in that game? Anything. Keeper can do a Bartes and just throw the ball in someone's face, for example. Yeah, I was in Peppa Pig World with 1% battery. Yeah, fun times. I made a free hit team, so let me bring this up quickly. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. I put a little bit of thought into this, but hopefully that's big enough. So, there are so many forwards that could do well this week. As I say it again, Owen is apparently very good, so he could come in here easily. Loads of other names. I stuck Neil Harris in simply. I'd much rather have that be Savarese, just to target Charlton, but he's 90%, so I wasn't 100% whether he plays. So just stuck Harris in. Obviously, if you think Savarese plays, I'd recommend him. Van Nistelrooy, just because it's Van Nistelrooy, best player in the game. It's been shit, but it's a good game. I'll always back him. Phillips, because I just like him home to Everton. Think that's great. As for the midfield, I've gone for Giggs to target the wing against Spurs. Love Giggs anyway. My hero as a player, not as a person, after we found out when I was younger. I'm Welsh, in case you didn't realise. Fast, winger, up front. Just as good as Giggs, less hairy. Haven't shagged my brothers. Why? Can't remember doing that anyway. De Boer, yeah, midfielder up front, why not? Good game. Is it home to Watford? Penalties? Alexanderson, as we said, and Chadwick. The reason why I've done that is I'd start Chadwick just for the wings against Tottenham, and then if he didn't play, Alexanderson could come in. I think that's a fine backup. In defence, Hippier, absolute lock for this game for me. I'd still go Hart just because I feel like if he does play, which we never know, home to Villa, I said the clean sheet's fairly nailed, gets high average. I think he got 9 away in the last game, losing 2-0 to Arsenal. So still fabulous when he actually takes to the field. And then if he didn't play, you got Tome and Delaney, probably the 2 of the better 4.5s in the game. Both got a nice matchup this week to come in. Go for David Weatherall just for the bonus. Home, Derby, I think he'll do pretty well. He's playing against Christie and Ravanelli that aren't particularly quick or particularly good in the air. So I think he could have a good game. Reed's the only nailed 4 keeper, so he's there. And then yeah, go for Sullivan in goal. He's probably the best 4.5 goalkeeper this week, I would say. So that's my cheeky free hit. They could do well. They could do absolute shite. I'm about as Welsh as the Prince of Wales. My name's Williams and I was born in Abergavenny. I'm Welsh, mate. Especially when it comes to when it comes to watching international football most of the time. And rugby when we win. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. Unless anyone's got any more questions. Oh, the questions. I didn't do the questions. I might have covered most of them. Can't put a question thread out and then not answer them. People won't bother. Yeah, we've answered that one. Auto Recluse did it at the very start and I went through that. That's great. Is Gallas nailed with Babayaro sidelined? I will never say nail because he's not a nail player, but considering 2 players are out and he is the best replacement in both positions, it's like 99% yes. And he does have some attacking. I think he's scored already this season, and Chelsea score a lot of goals from their centre-backs and their full-backs. Carboni's deliveries. So yeah, he's got some attacking threat. Looking at Owen, possible other pool punts. Who has pens with Hippier? Yeah, we've talked about that. And apparently Owen's very good, so yeah, that's not bad. Heartworth getting in for a hit. I mean, if he doesn't play, you're shafted. I probably wouldn't do that. Luton still on for back-to-back promotions. I shall check that for you quickly, Bricky. Suspension, we covered that. Goodman, sort of. Basically, I don't know. Google it. Or ask someone more knowledgeable on that. Double game weeks or blank game weeks, we covered that. Slovakia, sort of. Very close to when it actually happens, which is game week 17 or 18. So we won't find out until about 16, I think. And is Alan Smith viable? Yeah, I mean, it looks like for 3 weeks with 3 good games, he's very viable. Possible captain option this week, but I personally wouldn't go there. There we go. That's all we got. Last chance, guys. If you want to put anything in the chat, anything you want to see, anything you want covered before we go ahead. Average rating for attackers there. Arthur McCain, newbie question. When's it best time to use the wildcard? I mean, there may be a week soon where you just get absolutely rogered for injuries and stuff. Go with that. But otherwise, I suppose it's just as a double game week happens, right? You could use it on the double game week, maybe. Seems a pretty good idea to me, if it happens. You want to look for some fixture changes though. Look at the ticker and just see when there's a time when there's a big shift in the fixtures, because they're quite important in this game, as we know. John Shanley, start Unsworth or Ravanelli? Oh, that's going to be Ravanelli. I'd always favour the forward over the defender. They're both away from home. Ravanelli can take penalties. Riggett usually does, sometimes Burley, but Ravanelli has occasionally got them. I don't expect either to do well. Unsworth could obviously get a penalty as well, but I don't think he'll get a clean sheet. Slightly better for bonus than Ravanelli though. Nah, I'd start Ravanelli. I will not be watching the Super Bowl, Marcus de Giza, but you enjoy it. Shanley, start them both and bench Rude, live on the edge. We're going on recent performances. Luton, yeah. Division 1 table, here it is, Andy. Burnley, top, 31 goals scored. 22 conceded, jeez. A pretty fun team. Second division, Luton, yeah, they're in with a shout, Bricky. Most goals, least conceded. I think it pops up in the news actually at some point that people were running out of superlatives to describe Liam George, so you'll be happy. Hegem Fitness. He's a good one on free hit actually. If you I fancy Liverpool for a clean sheet, and he's got massive attacking threat, so yeah, like him this week. Where is he? 100%. Sean Derry stats. Not the worst, especially not in that division. Brian. That'll be simple goal, keeping an eye on him because he knows. It's the home of Trevor Benjamin. There's one version of the game where Trevor Benjamin was an absolute monster playing for Cambridge. I think it might have been the one just before this actually. Or maybe it was a couple before this. Carlisle flying. It's my local team, Rushton, before they got destroyed. He's an Arsenal player, isn't he? I swear he goes to Arsenal quite often, or he did at some point. CM3 Peter Carr, is it? Okay, yeah. Seth Johnson was a monster in one of them as well. I mean, he's not bad in this one, but there was one where he was ridiculously good. Nice. Okay, I think we'll end it there then, guys. Good luck. Be brave. I'll be rooting on 2 4.5 million midfielders. And yeah, there's not really much else to say. Thursday, can't wait. Forget FPL. Suchek red cards for absolute bullshit. You get them for, at least in this game, if you're going to get one, you know, you punch Bowyer in the face. I mean, that's fair enough. Cheers, guys. Catch you later. Appreciate it. Sound as a pound. Love that. Big ups. Night night.